If you really want to understand all about Macau, then you have to go way back in time. Now, I'm retracing the very steps taken some 400 years ago by Catholic priests walking up to St. Paul's Church. Now, what remains standing today is the facade of St. Paul. And it just tells you when the seeds of cultural fusion were first sown. Voila, the most iconic site in Macau.
These are the ruins of St. Paul's. You have to give it to the Macanese for preserving this piece of history so well that it's flanked by visitors every day. There is even a small museum at the back, which gives you a snapshot of what the church used to be. But perhaps the facade itself, with a Chinese dragon, inscription, and Japanese chrysanthemum, tells an even more interesting story of how a church in Asia looked during that time.
Lots of people here, even on a Monday, but it's easy to see why, because it's such a sight to behold.
Most people have seen the front, but not the back of St. Paul's. I highly recommend you take the time to check out the museum at the back, which houses important historical artifacts and paintings. Curiously, there is a gem of a Chinese temple built on land that is owned by the Jesuits. This speaks volumes about the religious plurality that exists in Macau and the racial and religious harmony that has been nurtured here for centuries. You can conveniently walk to the temple, which is right next to the ruins of St. Paul.
This temple is actually built in the late 19th century and it's sitting on land that's owned by the Jesuits, who also own St. Paul's. I think this shows how accepting Macau is of just different religions coexisting together.
Macau might be tiny, but it's teeming with historical and cultural diversity. The narrow streets and charming squares paint a picture of two major communities, namely the Chinese and Portuguese. And now where is it better explained than here at the Macau Museum? Here's the key to understanding how a city of the East absorbed many facets of the West and ultimately carved out its very own character. And it's located at Mount Fort.
I've learned a lot about Macau history at the museum. Now, this fortress was built in 1617 and it's a quicker and easier way to get here via the museum, but it costs just a little bit more instead of trekking up the hill. But whichever way you choose to get here, it's well worth the view.
For the perfect photo op, head straight up to Mount Fortress. It's perched on a hilltop to the east of the ruins of St. Paul's. This was also the first residence of the governors of Macau. But Father Time lent his hands, and decades later, trees grew from the platform of the fort. It then transformed into a public park. From one fort to the next, we head to Guia Lighthouse, which is Guia's fort's most prominent feature. You can even hike up to the hilltop.
Guia Lighthouse is one of the oldest along the China coast, and it's also sitting on the highest point on the Macau Peninsula. And back in the days when there was a fire that happened right in the neck of the woods, before surveillance cameras was around, the lighthouse would be the first one to spot it, ring the alarm, and alert the city. I think it really serves a dual function, just taking care of Macau's bay and protecting the citizens.
Standing here at the lighthouse really makes me feel amorous. It's a place that seems to have nostalgia lingering in the air. Well, from nostalgia to adventure. Get ready to switch gears and go full steam ahead. Feeling adventurous now? For adrenaline junkies, hit the Macau Tower and jump off it. Why? Because it's a bungee jump. And there's a tamer version called the sky jump and also tower climbs for the less daring. It's one of the modern marvels at Macau and one of the most advanced towers on the planet. But one look at the jumper ready to plunge and I'm pretty sure I'll stay on the sidelines. This is really for the lion-hearted, and I applaud anyone out there who has the guts to do this. The crew who works at the bungee jump have to do this as a pre-job requisite. Can you imagine? Thankfully, I have my feet on the ground.
sorry to interrupt, but we saw you jumping. What about you? I mean, it was crazy. Like, how did it feel? Because I would never have A, the stupidity, or B, the courage and the guts to do it.
It's yeah, it's pretty scary. It's terrifying right on the edge. But as soon as you jump and you feel the bungee cord take up, it all feels really good.
How many seconds did you feel you know, you were gonna die? Oh, pure terror.
Yeah, no, pure terror is about there for the first two seconds, but the 2 seconds lasts about a minute. It feels like it lasts a minute. So yeah.
I know we were all like just watching you there, getting ready, and that seems. I don't know. I don't know how you can will yourself to just go. I think you deserve that bottle of beer. Well done.
Thank you.
I'm very proud of you. This is where you get high on life at the Macau Tower. Now their motto is why live on the edge when you can jump off. This is the highest commercial bungee jump. And for you adrenaline junkies out there, this is the ultimate. Ooh, I am starving. Let's have some family-style Portuguese cuisine.
The restaurant Espejo Lisboa is run by Francesco Cruz and his business partner. It's located at the southern tip of Coloane Island. A small family-styled restaurant, it's famous for its authentic Portuguese food, and we head to his kitchen to investigate.
He's the chef.
Hi,
Hi,
I'm Greta.
I'm Henry.
Henry, all right. So how many years of experience do you have cooking in the
I've seen
kitchen?
around 20 years.
20 years of experience. Wow.
Then the club is almost cooked. We are going to put lemon to the taste also.
Pinch of lemon never goes wrong with seafood, does it?
It's, and then after you finish, when it goes to the table, one thing that we normally do is we get the bread and we soak the bread into the sauce.
What is the national dish from Portugal?
This one.
Like this.
That is a big national dish.
And then you can make it, prepare this in different ways. Boil, grill, stuff with cream. There are 1,001 ways of doing this
There's
fish,
so much
according to them.
passion in this fish.
This is a fish that is part of every table. Special in one time of the year is Christmas time.
Right. So this looks like you can feed a family of like 10.
Yeah.
It's a huge fish.
When the Portuguese arrived in Macau in the 16th century, they cooked using their own methods but with local ingredients in the surrounding regions. Over time, through the fusion of Portuguese and Cantonese cooking styles, a new Macanese cuisine emerged. As such, you have a wider variety of foods to choose from.
Red from the south of Portugal, and you are going to enjoy. On the starters, we have some Portuguese sausage, roasted, and then we have some clams in a white wine sauce. This one, or we can put it now for you to taste this. And our ancestors, the Macanese, used to say that the foreigners that come to Macau and go to that fountain and drink the water from that fountain will never go back to their own place. And I drink from that water.
The cup that runneth over.
Yeah.
Well, look
Yeah.
at you right now. I mean, you're